What's up, family? It's your favorite book cousin, Cousin Five, and I am so blessed to be back with y'all, man. I hope y'all miss me because I know for a fact that I missed y'all 100%. Now, I've been away. I had to take some time off because I had a lot of life issues going on. I had some mental struggles, and I had just a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. And I really just had to take a step back because everything just started getting overwhelming, dog. I'm not going to lie to you. It got a real overwhelming. And, I just had to take a step back so I could make sure I could handle the business that needed to be handled, and just take care of the things that need to be taken care of so I can be good. But I'm feeling a lot better mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So I figured it's time for me to come back and talk to my family because I have read some good books and I've done some book reviews on Goodreads. So I kind of been keeping up with y'all a little bit and making sure that y'all can still see what I got going on, but not to the best of my abilities. So I'm sorry for that, family. I really am. But I just want to let y'all know that I'm back. I'm ready to be consistent. I'm got my head on my shoulders and I'm ready to give y'all some good book content. So, as you can see, I'm back with a book review because like I said, I read some great books. I'm not going to lie to y'all. And I'm doing it a little different. I want to switch it up just a little bit because in all my other book reviews, I've done 3 books at a time, right? But today I'm gonna do 4 books. So we're gonna switch it up a little bit. And now I'm back and I'm better. We gotta move some things around, switch it up a little bit so we can, this is new and improved Cousin Five. New and improved 5. You know what I'm saying? And I'm feeling good. I hope y'all feeling good. And I know y'all tired of hearing me talk about myself already. So we just gonna go ahead and talk about these books because they some good ones. I promise you. But before we jump right into the books, y'all, I want to take some time out of this video to give a huge thanks to the sponsor of this video, which is Skillshare. Now, with me taking some time off, I told y'all before in my previous videos that I wanted to get into journaling and really start writing stuff down, and that's what I did. But now, thanks to Skillshare and me doing a little searching, I found a class on there that is a creative writing boot camp. So now I'm going to try to get into storytelling because I just feel like I have a lot to tell. And it's not something that I want to go and publish or anything like that. But I do want to take the class and just learn something new. So that's what I'm going to do. And if you don't know about Skillshare, Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives. Now, Skillshare has thousands and thousands of classes in countless categories ranging from graphic design, photography, music, cooking, and so much more. And the good thing about Skillshare is they have a learn by doing approach. So when you're in a class, you can do a project and you can share that project with the community so you can get feedback from class members and your teacher. And another good thing is that they have on-demand classes with stackable lessons so members can learn at their own pace. And plus, it's getting into the fall months and we don't want you to fall behind on your goals. So with that being said, the first 500 people to use my link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So let's get started today, family. Attack those goals. Okay, now we got that out the way. It's time to get into these reviews, family. So let's get right into it. The first book we about to talk about is Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. I'm going to tell y'all, this book was genuinely boring as hell at first. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Y'all know I'm going to keep it real, and that's always going to be me. This book was super boring at first, especially like the first 20 pages. Like I was confused as to what was going on and why are we following this woman's life like this. And before I even get into the review, if you don't know what this book is about, this book is basically about a sales clerk named Kiko, right? And she's an unusual person and she's somebody who does not fit in. And when she's asked to take the job at the Smile Mart, which is a convenience store, she finally finds peace in her purpose in the daily tasks that she has to do each and every single day. But there's a huge pressure on Kiko to pursue a career, to find a husband, and it says she feels forced to take desperate action in order to please the people around her instead of herself. So is there room in this world, in this normal world, for Kiko as a strange person. Now, with that being said, again, this book was boring at first because it's just going over her repetitive life in the convenience store. But it was intriguing at the same time because what happened in this book is character growth. The way Sayaka Murata wrote this book, she made it boring on purpose, but she made it boring enough that you like, okay, this is boring, but what's gonna happen next? You know what I'm saying? So we go along with Kiko's life and it's just monotonous. It's the same thing every single day. But as society and people start to pressure her, we see things start to change. So she changes at work a little bit. She starts taking on the characteristics and attributes of these people that she's working with because she feels that this is what she needs to do to fit in to normal life. Because she's a strange person. She's older, working at a convenience store. She doesn't have a husband. She has no kids. So in life, they're trying to force these things onto her. And if you don't have these things as a woman, then you're strange or you're weird. And that's weird because who's to say people even want those things? Everybody wants something different. And what also I liked about this book is that instead of chapters, it was more of page breaks. So it was just like almost like a next day sort of thing or a break in thought. And then we came back to, another scene. So it wasn't totally different chapters or a lot of different things happening, but it was literally chronological in the way of Kiko's life and the way she was thinking and other people's, point of views and stuff like that throughout the book. She met this person that she was working with who was terrible. I can't remember his name, but she met him at work and he was the worst worker. He always complained. He was doing the most, right? But it's so weird because after he got fired, she seen him again and things just kind of took off with him. Like they kind of just made a plan and went with it, not really caring about how weird or discombobulating that situation could be. And they only did it for society. They only did it to look normal, in other people's eyes. Because Kiko had her sister on her back, her mama, her dad, her other family, friends, everybody was on her back about all of these things. And what I actually started to like about this book once I got into it and once stuff started to pick up a little bit and move in a different direction than just her everyday life at the store, it was like originality, societal pressures, sexism, and gender classes and all those things. It was super eye-opening. People live these kind of lives. People live lives, they just kind of get into a groove and that's all they want to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. But society pressures you into feeling like you need to do what everybody else does. And this book shows that you can be all right without doing what everybody else does. So if you into stuff like that, if you're into a sort of slow-paced but real life situational book, I think this is one of the best books that you can read because the writing is amazing. Sayaka Murata really did her thing with this book and it's just relatable. It might not be relatable in every aspect, but a lot of it is. So I definitely recommend this book. Amazing read, super quick. It's like 170 pages on this in this copy. Yeah, 171, 172 pages. So if you want a quick read, good read, pick up Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. Okay, y'all. So the next book we're finna talk about, book number 2, is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Cousins, when I say this book really caught me off guard, it caught me off guard because not in any crazy way or as far as crazy things happening, but just the way that the story progressed and how it went from one thing to a whole nother thing. And to give y'all a quick synopsis, this story is about Dorian Gray, obviously, who gets a portrait drawn of him. He makes a wish that the portrait takes on all of his sin and everything like that, and he can just live in his beauty and sin and do whatever, and the portrait will get old and not him. So all he cares about is beauty and doing whatever he wants to do in life. So as he's doing this thing, as he's living in sin and doing whatever he wants to do with no repercussions, he looks at the portrait every now and then, and it's getting older, it's getting, facial expressions on it or everything, and it's scaring him, and he's seeing how his sins could be affecting him, and what it's doing to other people and how bad they really are. With that being said, this book was very, very interesting. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I just truly liked the book and it was oh so good, but it was good to an extent. Because when you first get into the book, you got other characters, and they talk about these other characters like Henry and Basil. And it was so interesting too, because Dorian wasn't even really talked about, or his life wasn't even part of the story for the first like 20-25 pages. So as you read and you like, okay, cool. Like, we learned about Basil, we learned about Lord Henry. They talking, chatting it up, talking about Dorian here and there. But where's Dorian? Why are we not hearing about Dorian? But it's good because when you get that backstory and you understand how much Basil really was locked in with Dorian and how Lord Henry kind of took it over, then when you get into talking about Dorian Gray and his life, it starts to get interesting. So Basil paints this portrait of Dorian, and Basil doesn't like it at all at first, and he doesn't even want to show nobody. But Dorian wants to keep the portrait. So he takes the portrait and he goes home and he makes a wish that he can keep his beauty and the portrait will take on his sins. So he doesn't think nothing of it, and it was just like a random wish. But then he starts doing things, and he's getting older, and he's, just living his life with no repercussions, but his face isn't changing. He's still one of the most beautiful people that people have ever seen. So he's starting to get away with a lot more stuff. It starts to get super interesting because a lot of themes and ideologies start to come into play because Dorian is talking to Lord Henry, and he's talking to these other women throughout the story, and he's just getting different perspectives from everybody. He's hearing so much, and he's literally just feeding on it. He's taking everybody's opinions and using it as his own opinion. So there was also some like quotes that I mentioned in here, or like pages that I had to like mark off, on my little tabbies. Now listen to this real quick, y'all. It says, "I never approve or disapprove of anything now. It is an absurd attitude to take towards life. We are not sent into the world to air our moral prejudices. I never take any notice of what common people say, and I never interfere with what charming people do. If a personality fascinates me, whatever mode of expression that personality selects is absolutely delightful to me." That's crazy. So this man is basically saying that he doesn't approve or disapprove, which is cool. You live your life. I can't approve or disapprove. I'm nobody. But basically he's saying he does not care what the common people do or say. I don't care about what the common people do, but I won't interfere with what charming people do. People who look good or people who are of high stature. That's just a crazy take to me. He's so focused on beauty, and he's so focused on charming people that he'll put up with whatever. That's odd to me. I ain't going for it. I don't care how good you look. When on the real note, this book took some crazy turns, and it was super fascinating to see how everybody's opinions can really affect you if you internalize it. How people can get big-headed. We always say that somebody getting big-headed, or all that fame going to your head, or people telling you you look good is getting to you. That's a real thing, because we literally watched Dorian Gray go from an innocent little boy to the character that he grew to be in this book. And it ain't good, I'm going to tell you that. So again, this book was kind of slow at first for me, but once it picked up and we actually started learning more about Dorian, and he started going through the things and going through these phases with everything, this book got super interesting, I promise you. And the writing in here was a little hard for me because it's very Shakespearean, and it's very like, I don't want to say medieval, but just back in those times or whatever. I don't know the right words for it, but it's a little difficult to read sometimes if you're not used to that, but you'll get used to it pretty quick because it's not hard words. It's just the way that the words are put together, if that makes sense. Once you get used to all that, and once you get into the life of Dorian and the way that things are changing, his character growth, this book is actually really good, and the ending is crazy. I mean, crazy. And it's not something that you would expect. Like, not something that you would expect at all. So if you have not read Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray, I suggest you read it, because whether you like it or not, it's just a good book. And you will be satisfied once you read the whole thing. So, The Picture of Dorian Gray, Oscar Wilde. All right, fam, we on to the third book. Now, this book I actually don't have physically anymore because I got it from the library and I had to return it. So, I'm going to just put it up here. The book that we about to talk about is The Truth About the Devlins by Lisa Scotland. Now, this book was phenomenal. Lisa Scotland, you did your thing, girl. I promise you. This book has some major twists and turns and stuff that you just kind of like looking all over the place. You know what I'm saying? It was a crazy book, like, to say the least. And just a quick backstory, if you never heard about this book, it's basically about this family, the Devlins, who own this law firm. Now, the son, TJ, is an alcoholic. He's coming out of rehab. He got out of jail and stuff like that. So he's the F up of the family. You feel me? Then you got John, his older brother, who works at the law firm. Then you got his sister who works there, his mother, father. They all work at the law firm. John, out of nowhere, tells TJ that he murdered one of his clients. So now, even though TJ is the up of the family, he's the one who's going to try and save the family and save the face of everybody in the family. He's got to try not to up and help the family. That's pretty much the basics of what's going on in this book. But when you get into this book, I'm telling you, it's a lot more than just a crime thriller, because I really felt what was going on in this book, and they actually talked about some real hard topics a little bit, and like it kind of hit home for me because, like I said, TJ is an alcoholic, and he's, coming out of rehab, and he's really dealing with the real repercussions of alcoholism and the consequences that come with that when it comes to your family, So that was a little tough for me, and I know it can be tough for other people, so that's just the, PSA to put out there about this book. But it's nothing like too hard, though. And another thing is that sometimes you can't even trust your own family when you're doing things to help them. Like, that's a real one. Sometimes you just cannot trust everybody, regardless if it's family, friends, close associates, whatever. You kind of got to just do your own thing sometimes and show everybody instead of telling them. But throughout this book, TJ is low-key constantly fucking up. He's constantly still getting in trouble. And for the first part, they don't even know what he's doing. He's keeping everything under wraps, trying to help his brother. And what really pissed me off, I'm not going to lie to you, that pissed me off, is that TJ's brother ended up lying on him about something. And it's like, bruh, I'm trying to help you, and you lying on me, making me look bad. I don't like that. That ain't what we doing. But I'm going to still help you because I'm genuine and I love you, dog. But what you did ain't right, and we're going to deal with that later. But that really caught me off guard. And what I also liked about it, too, is like the actual family dynamic of the book, because it's real life situations again. Mean pops, caring sister who really just will do anything for you. And then, like I said, you got the alcoholism that's affecting everybody, and not just TJ. So they really got some hard stuff in here, but it's also some funny stuff, some crazy stuff, twists and turns. So this is a really good book, and I guarantee you will not guess the ending. I promise you. And if you do, you're just really good at crime solving, and you might want to be a detective or something. So think about that one. I realized I haven't been giving these books any ratings either, because I gave them some ratings on Goodreads, but on here they might change. They're going to change a little bit because I went back and looked at it, and some of them might go up, some of them going to go down. But for this one, I think I gave this book 3 stars, but I'm definitely going to give this book 4 stars because the way Lisa Scotland wrote this book, too good. I'm not lying to y'all. So I'm going to give this book 4 stars for sure. If you like crime thrillers, this is definitely the one for you. Let's go back to these 2 books real quick before I move on to the last book. The Picture of Dorian Gray, I'm definitely going to give this one about a 3.3, close to 3.5. Like I said, this is a good book. it was good. It was a little boring at first, but it was good. This book right here, I'm giving a 4.2, 4.3, close to that 4.5 range, just because the writing in this book is insane, and just the stuff that goes on and the relatableness, and just Sayaka Murata just put her foot in this book. I'm trying to tell you. And it's short. Like, you can just get through this book in a day or two and not like press yourself to read it. You know what I mean? Just knock it out a few pages at a time and you through. So this book was super good. Like I said, 4.2, 4.3, bang, bang. So now we on to the last book. And this is undoubtedly the heaviest book that I've read in these few months that I took off. And also one of the best books that I've read because it's a little different from what I usually read, you know. And that is Why Fathers Cry at Night by Kwame Alexander. All right, so this book is different because it's not a novel. It is a memoir that is written in love poems, letters, recipes, and remembrances. I'm not used to reading poems. I'm not used to not reading something that is like plot based or has like an actual story behind it. And, you know, we just get right into the nitty gritty. This is filled with a lot of poems, like it says, and a lot of family recipes and things like that. And basically, it's not really a synopsis behind this book, but it's just basically about Kwame Alexander's life and him explaining in his way, which is love, poems, recipes, and stuff like that, his life and how he progressed through life and what he was thinking about in certain situations, how he overcame tough spots in his life with his wife, his daughters, his mother, father, and things like that. So, like I said, this is one of the deeper books that I read, you know, on my little hiatus. And I loved it, honestly. One, because he's a black man, so I definitely could relate to a lot of stuff that he was talking about. Two, he's a man in general, and men in general go through certain things that we all can relate to. And three, the recipes. The recipes that he was talking about in this book, I got it right. I can't cook for lick. I can't cook for nothing. But I saved some of these recipes and I'm going to try them out. So Kwame teaching me how to cook. So shout out to you, Kwame. But the recipes I really liked in here because food has been a critical part of my life. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I love me some food. And that's on me. Food has really been like a pivotal part of my life because, you know, Thanksgivings or cookouts, you know what I'm saying, family reunions, anything like that, there's always food. My grandma used to cook real good. My mama can cook good. Everybody in my family really can cook. So cooking really brought us all together. And that's one thing that I really took away from this book. And I also liked it because the way Kwame was talking about his life, it was super humble. But it was also bragging in a sense that I have what most people don't even think about having, which is love and family and friends and people that really care about me. So he showed that in this book and was talking about his daughters, giving them kind of, you know, a backstory on his life and letting them know why he did certain things and how certain things affected him from what they did. He also talked about, you know, his wife and how he messed up and, you know, that led to their divorce or splitting up and stuff like that. And it really hit me kind of deep because some of the stuff that he was talking about, you know, I've personally been through. And just to be transparent, I didn't really have a real cemented father figure in my life. So to hear the thoughts of a black father and what he's going through with his children, it kind of, you know, struck me a little deep. So I'm kind of biased towards this book because, like I said, it's very relatable to me. But I do feel that anybody can read this book and take something away from it because it's not black, white, Asian, whatever. It's not just like a man's book either. It's just the perspective of a black man. And I think it's an important perspective that anybody can read and, like I said, take something from. So I really want to give this book a 4.5, 4.6. It just hit me in a place that I can't even really explain. I will be reading this book again for sure. It's just one of them books that you have to read multiple times to feel the way that it's supposed to make you feel. you know, and notice different things. So Why Fathers Cry at Night by Kwame Alexander. I recommend it to everybody out there. It's a great book. You can take a lot from it. But all right, cousins, that's my 4 book review. Not the 3, but the 4 book review. And I gave y'all some good books today. I'm not gonna lie, I've read more books than this that I need to still put on Goodreads, but these are some of the best books that I've read in my hiatus, and I wanted to share them with y'all today. So I hope y'all like these books. I hope y'all like the recommendations that I gave y'all. And I want to tell y'all that I am in a way better headspace than I was a few months ago, and I will not leave y'all like I have again. I know some people might have left, some people might have stayed and are waiting on me, but regardless, I thank y'all, I love y'all, and I really do appreciate all the love that y'all show me, and it matters. Like, it matters to me, and I want to make sure that I thank each and every one of y'all. I want to continue to talk to y'all in the comments, and I want to continue to, you know, get y'all recommendations and read the books that y'all recommend. Make sure y'all go comment, like, subscribe. Cousin 5 will be back with more videos. So with that being said, Cousin 5 is out.